Maybe something awful has happened to Pennyfeather, Ella said, sounding a bit too excited by the prospect. We should check into it. Come on, let's go. We need to figure out the last person to see him. Let's start by asking at the gate. Oh, I'm sure it's nothing so dramatic, Frederick said quickly. The only thing he had a harder time imagining than a crime occurring within the royal palace was himself investigating such a crime. He's probably just off at a bard convention somewhere, one of those gatherings where they vote on the precise number of feathers a minstrel should have in his cap, that sort of thing. But don't worry. Just because Pennyfeather himself isn't here doesn't mean we can't have music. I'll just send for... Never mind the song, Frederick, Ella said, taking a deep breath. Remember how we were just talking about my sheltered childhood? Frederick nodded. Now that I'm free, I want to have new experiences. I want to find out what I'm capable of. So if we're not going to look into Pennyfeather's disappearance, what can we do today? She asked. What kind of adventure can we have? Adventure. Right. Frederick pondered his options briefly. It is a lovely day, nice and sunny. I'm thinking picnic. Ella slumped. Frederick, I need to do something different. Frederick stared at her like a lost baby rabbit. I hear there's a troupe of traveling acrobats in town, Ella suggested. Maybe we could get them in here to teach us some tumbling. Oh, but I've got that problem with my ankle. He had no problem with his ankle. How about a treasure hunt? Ella proposed excitedly. Some of the kitchen staff were gossiping about a bag of stolen gold that one of your father's old valets hid in the tunnels below the castle. We could try to find it. Oh, but I can't go below ground level. You know what dampness does to my sinuses. Dampness did nothing to his sinuses. Can we go boating on the lake? I can't swim. This was true. Ella huffed. Frederick, what can we do? I'm sorry if this sounds rude, but I'm bored. We could have a different kind of picnic, Frederick offered hopefully. We could do breakfast food for lunch. Croissants, poached eggs. How's that for shaking things up? Ella walked back to her horse and hopped up into the saddle. Go ahead and order your picnic, Frederick, she said flatly. I'm going to ride a bit more while you wait. Okay, Frederick said, and waved to her. I'll stay right here. I'm sure you will. You're very good at that, Ella replied, and she rode off. An hour or so later, Frederick sat out on the palace lawn. Well, on a carefully unfolded blanket, actually. He didn't want to get grass stains on his white pants. Waiting for his lunch and his fiancée to arrive. A servant arrived and set down a tray of breakfast delicacies in front of Frederick. My lord, the man said, as he bowed and backed away, there's a message there for you. Frederick saw a folded piece of paper nestled between a bowl of grapefruit slices and a plate of chocolate chip waffles. He picked up the note with a sudden sinking feeling about what it might say. Sweet, good-hearted Frederick, I'm terribly sorry to do this to you, and I hope that someday you will understand why I had to leave. You seem very comfortable in your life here at the palace. I can't make you into someone who wants to climb mountains, paddle rushing rivers, and explore ancient ruins. You don't want to do those things, and that's fine. It's just not your cup of tea. Your cup of tea is, well, a cup of tea. But I need something more. When you mentioned that song about Rapunzel, it got me thinking. The prince in that story tried to rescue Rapunzel, but Rapunzel ended up rescuing him. Now that girl is an inspiration, so I'm heading off to find her. I think Rapunzel and I will hit it off. I think she'll make a great partner for hunting down Pennyfeather. And even if we end up finding him at a boring old convention like you say, who knows what kind of adventures will be in store for us along the way. Frederick, You are a lovely man, and I have nothing but good wishes for you. For what it's worth, that night at the ball really was the most romantic night of my life. All the best, Ella. Frederick dropped the letter onto his empty plate. So, he thought, the ball was the most romantic night of her life, huh? Well, that's not saying much coming from a girl whose typical nights consisted of scraping dead spiders out of cracks in the floorboards. And look how she signed it. All the best? That's how you sign a thank you note to your dog walker. Frederick had completely lost his appetite. Reginald! Am I really that boring? Frederick was back in his room, sitting slumped on the edge of his cashmere-covered bed, while Reginald, rigid as ever, stood next to him, awkwardly patting the prince's head. There, my lord, the valet answered. I don't think the Countess of Bellsworth would call you boring. Do you remember how elated she was when you taught her how to cha-cha? You have many, many admirers, sir. Yes, Frederick said sorrowfully, but Ella is apparently not among them. It seems that Lady Ella simply seeks a different kind of life than that which you can provide for her here at the palace, Reginald said. Poached eggs. How stupid can I be? Frederick smacked himself on the forehead. Rigid. Something that is rigid is stiff and does not bend easily. There will be other women, my lord. I don't want any other women. I want Ella. Reginald, what do you think I should do? And be honest with me. Don't just tell me what you think my father would want you to say. Reginald considered this request. He'd been caring for Frederick since the prince was a child, and he'd never been more proud of Frederick than when he saw the young man stand up to his overbearing father. Frederick could use someone as feisty and fearless as Ella in his life. Don't let her get away, Reginald said, dropping his overly stiff posture and speaking in an unusually casual tone. Wow, Frederick gasped. Did you just get 2 inches shorter? Never mind me, Reginald said. Did you hear what I told you? Get a move on. Go after Ella. But how? Frederick asked, still bewildered to hear his longtime valet speaking like a regular person. We'll put you on a horse. Charles can show you the basics. You don't need to be the world's best rider. You just need to be able to get around. Stick to the roads and you'll be fine. But I know you're scared, Frederick, but here's my advice. Get over it. Ella wants someone as adventurous as she is, a real hero. Then I've got no hope, Frederick sulked. I'm a fantastic dresser. My penmanship is top-notch. I'm really good at being a prince, but I'm pretty lousy at being a hero. Reginald looked him in the eye. There's a bit of courage in you somewhere. Find it. Go catch up with Ella, wherever she is, and just see what happens. She might be impressed enough that you've left the palace. Feisty. Someone who is feisty is bold, energetic, and determined. Sulked. If you sulked, you were crabby because you were annoyed or disappointed about something.
On the next slide, you are going to make a prediction of what do you think Frederick is going to do next.